Welcome to season 2 of All the Everything podcast. I'm
Woo!
Billy. That's Tim. Tim, welcome to episode 53, sir.
Man, season 2's in effect. Let's do this thing. We're so excited. I hope you guys enjoyed our wrap up of our first year last week. We were really excited to do that episode, and we are excited to kick off season 2 with you guys. So thanks for being here.
Yes, season 2. Wow. We did. I'm really proud that we did
Yeah.
not miss a single week last year. We had that
Yeah.
podcast ready to go on Thursdays. Whenever you wake up, it was ready for you. I know I got a little alert saying
Well,
All the Everything
unless it's before
podcast.
unless it's before 5 a.m. But at 5 a.m. is when it drops. Just so you know.
Well, yeah, no. If you're a super, I'm never up that early.
Yeah, me
No,
either. So
that time does not exist to me.
5 a.m. What?
What? No.
What the heck? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So, what do you got going on right now?
So let's see. You know what? Traveling wise, have settled down this month a little bit, so we actually been home. But this weekend, as a matter of fact, tonight we're going up to see my daughter at her college for her senior year. It's the parents' weekend, which is always kind of crazy and busy up there. We're gonna go out to dinner, hang out for a little bit. But the big draw tonight is they always bring somebody in, like a performer or something. And tonight they're bringing in Seth Meyers, so he'll be there doing some comedy and hopefully bring some people with him from back in the day.
Back
Last
from SNL.
SNL. Matter of fact, last year was Colin Jost. He was there. And he had brought like 3 different people from SNL cast we hadn't heard about. And one was that Marcelo guy who's like super popular now.
Domingo.
He was so funny. Oh yeah, Domingo. Everyone knows him as Domingo, yeah. But he had brought them along. So I'm hoping he brings some people along that maybe we haven't seen before that we will eventually see, or somebody from the past. But it should be a fun time. What are you up to this weekend?
This weekend I am, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, duh. We are leaving today to go to Mississippi. I haven't been home since Mardi Gras, which was February.
Oh wow!
So it's always special to be able to get to go home. It's my niece's birthday, so the girls will get to go play. She's having a birthday party at one of those like really big trampoline /slide /foam pit kind of places.
Oh, just pure madness, yeah.
Just insanity with hundreds of kids screaming and running around. But it'll be fun. The girls will love that. And
oh my god, they're gonna go crazy, yeah.
Yep, and I'll get to go see my my mama, get to see my grandma, get to see my family and stuff, and super excited about that. Normally, when we go down this week every year,
right?
And normally it is the Jackson County Fair in Pascagoula, Mississippi. That has always been like a highlight for us, like to go to the fair, to go get our gumbo, because they have gumbo booths and like the local churches raise money selling gumbo. My mom always enters like the arts and crafts. She's entered the girls' artwork as well, and Chloe's won blue ribbons before, and so it's always such a fun, special time. Except for this year, there's been so much drama going down back home, like with the kids and people getting shot. And then there was rumors that they were going to have a big thing at the fair this year. And so like online, they're like, don't go to the fair. And so it kind of blew up and went viral. And so I'm like, I'm not going to the fair this year. I'm not going to risk it, especially because it would be Saturday night when we would be able to go. And that's going to be like the busiest night of anything. So if anything were to happen, it would have been on that night. But I will say the police department in Pascagoula, they got on that pretty quickly, and they arrested whoever started all that. And stuff. But I'm still just, I'm not, why risk it?
Yeah.
So instead we're going to end up going to one of my favorite barbecue places. It's called The Shed. It's been featured on the Food Network. I think they even had their own reality TV show for a little bit. But this place is, it's like, it's literally he's built this restaurant with just random crap. Like, it's huge. It's a big tourist place, because they actually do win. Like, they go to Memphis to the huge worldwide barbecue competition and have won overall multiple times. And so They're like
Dude, you don't
legit.
rub it in my face, guys. Dude, come on.
I know. And Chloe said, I really want to go to the shed. And so now that we're not going to the fair, I'm gonna take her to get fed at the shed. So
Fed at the shed. I love that.
if you want to sponsor us, the shed, come on by.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, you should talk to them when you go down there.
I should.
If you want a podcast that talks about your barbecue and get the word out from the South.
You need us to tell people about your barbecue friends. Yeah.
About the shed.
but yeah, just to be able to see my mama and my grandma, gosh, it's gonna be a good weekend. So I'm super.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, we're gonna kick off season 2. We got a great one. Well, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. Are you ready, my friend?
You better believe it. Let's get into all the everything, y'all.
All the everything, we've got it all. We've got it all, small, weird, or tall. So grab your snacks, sit back, don't stress. Cause Tim and Billy talk about the randomness. Information prone to UFOs will take you where the weirdness goes. It's two guys talking way too loud about stuff that makes no sense, but we're kinda proud.
Well, welcome to yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Tim Sawhook, and I'm joined by my man, the guy who's just struggling with technology today. But he's still here for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Parchman.
What's up, Tim, man? Shoot.
Billy's had a moment today, man. Everyone just give him a little bit of peace.
My gosh. About to drop an elbow on this computer. Whew. Sorry.
Hey, but
let the blood pressure lower here.
We persevered. We moved on, so we're okay.
We made it.
Tech wasn't his friend today, but It's okay. It's not any of our friends typically any day. So, but like we teased in the very beginning, we have a great episode, I think, to kick off season 2. Some things that's going to bring back, I think, a lot of memories for a lot of people. And Billy, what are we talking about today?
Well, whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, the evening TV.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing it back to that Full House vibe. Whatever happened to dun dun dun? There's some things out there, y'all, that used to be a really big part of our lives, and you know what?
Yeah.
Now they're not. So we're going to kind of cover a few of those nostalgic and wonderful little topics today.
Yeah. We actually have a lot of them, so this will definitely just be part 1 for sure.
Exactly.
And so I think the storytelling is going to be a little different this week, where we just have kind of like a shortest, medium, long intro to what we're talking about, and the rest is just going to be banter about those things with Billy and I. So we're looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. And I think I'm going to kick it off first today, right, Billy?
That sounds great. I'll sit back and relax and let like I said, the blood pressure just lower over me.
It's all good, man. You made it.
Yeah, we did it.
You're back.
I'm back.
Let's hope it stays that way. Stay like that, please, Jesus. Yes. So I'll start first. This is one of my favorite things when Billy and I were picking back and forth. This is the one I really wanted to talk about first and then really get into it. So today we're going to take a little trip down memory lane, and we're going to be talking about going to the mall, man, back in the day. Oh, yes, those malls, the ones you remember. This is the place where you bought your first T-shirt band at Hot Topic, grabbed a frosty Orange Julius, and probably ran into your crush by total accident. Or, if you're like me, by strategic wondering. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, because that really was my life. But what happened? What killed the mall? The magical mix of independence, shopping, and social awkwardness under one air-conditioned roof? Let's rewind and get into it. Okay, so let's talk about the rise of malls. So we'll title this The Suburban Dream. The modern mall was born in 1956. Can you believe it? First mall was 1956.
1956. Wow.
I was kind of blown away by that. And so anyhow, it was born in 1956 in Southdale Center in Edina, Minnesota. Designed by Victor Gruen, it was the world's first fully enclosed shopping mall. Gruen's idea wasn't just about commerce. He imagined a community hub, a sort of suburban town square where people could come, connect, relax, and shop. And definitely shop and shop and shop. And that vision exploded. By the time the 1980s and 1990s rolled around, the mall had become America's Main Street. Every suburb wanted one. 2 department stores to anchor it, a food court, a few dozen retail chains, and boom, you had a social epic center. The mall was clean, safe, and predictable. It was air conditioning in the summer, warm in the winter, You didn't have to cross a busy street to get a pretzel from the stand or to a movie theater back and forth. For families, it was perfect. For teens, it was freedom. And we're going to talk a lot about that. The golden age of the mall. Let's talk about the 90s, the golden age of mall culture. This is when you could spend your allowance on CD singles at Sam Goody. Gosh, you remember Sam Goody?
I do.
Grab a New York slice from Sbarro Pizza and try on sunglasses that you never intended to buy. You didn't need a plan. The mall was the plan. Just show up and have some fun. So for teenagers, the mall was everything, right? It was where you found your identity, whether you were a skater at PacSun, a rebel at Hot Topic, or a preppy at Abercrombie. It was where you practiced being social, flirting, failing, and finding your people. Movies like Clueless, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Mallrats captured that energy. Malls weren't just places to buy stuff. They were places to be. And honestly, they were the safest form of rebellion we had back then. At its peak, the U.S. had over how many malls, you think, enclosed at its peak?
Enclosed, I would say 600.
Actually, you were pretty close. At that point, they had over 1,500 enclosed malls in the U.S. And more were being built every year. They called them cathedrals of consumerism, and we worship faithfully every weekend. So what went wrong? Why did the soundtrack of the mall life, my life, and the hum of escalators, the chatter of crowds fade into silence? First, the obvious one, the internet. Internet ruined everything. Online shopping changed everything. Amazon, eBay, and later Shopify gave people what malls couldn't: convenience. You didn't have to fight for a parking or deal with long lines. One click and it was on your porch. Secondly, we just built too many. By the early 2000s, America had more retail space per person than any country in the world. Think about that.
Wow.
More retail space per person. That is crazy. And then when the economy slowed down, a lot of malls just couldn't survive. And then third, culture itself shifted. Social media replaced the mall as the hangout. Teens now meet on Snapchat, TikTok, and they don't say, hey, meet me by the fountain near the Gap. The thrill of running into your crush at the food court replaced by checking if they wanted to see if they saw your story on Instagram. And then the knockout punch, COVID-19. The pandemic forced malls to close, and for many, they never reopened. Online habits became permanent. Even when restrictions lifted, people realized maybe they didn't miss the mall after all. And here's the afterlife of it. So now, not all malls are dead. Some have evolved, or at least tried to. The Mall of America and American Dream have turned into entertainment megaplexes, part amusement park, part retail, part Instagram playground. Others have gone to a mixed-use route, converting into apartments, medical offices, or even high schools. Yep, there are literally kids attending class in what used to be a JCPenney somewhere in the U.S.
Yeah. And
here's the twist. Mall nostalgia is making a comeback. Gen Z is obsessed with Y2K fashion. They love the early 2000s aesthetic, the fonts, the neon, the low-rise jeans, even the mall photo shoots. TikTok is full of people exploring abandoned malls, reliving what they never actually got to experience. It's weirdly poetic. The generation that never grew up in the malls might be the ones that bring back the spirit of it all. So what is what the mall really meant to us? Here's the thing. Malls weren't really about shopping. They were about connection. They were about showing up, seeing your friends, people watching, maybe even getting your first kiss behind the arcade. Ooh, la la. We'll talk more about that. There were just that only. There were community theaters of life where kids grew up, parents relaxed, memories happened between pretzel bites. And they had their flaws: consumerism, crowds, the occasional sketchy Santa, but they represented something we're missing in the digital age, and that's a shared space. Maybe the mall's gone, but the need behind it, the desire to gather, to connect, to belong, that's timeless. We might just find new ways to bring that spirit back, whether it's community markets, outdoor plazas, or even, ironically, a good Discord server.
Right.
And that is the malls, man. A little quick in and out of like where it started, where it began. So let's just get into malls. Like,
yeah,
the experience of going to the mall.
Oh man.
I'll start and we'll kind of gonna go back and forth if that's
okay.
Fine. Let's just throw out like a topic. Like when can you remember the first time going to the mall by yourself?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah. The first time going by myself. I was probably 12.
Yeah.
12. Because it's a different day. Like I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. A different day. Different day. I would never I don't have a 12-year-old, but just thinking when she is 12. Yeah. No.
You're just going to drop her off at a mall and see.
No. That
You'd be on a
is
payphone.
where, yeah, that
Yeah.
payphone had my quarter ready to call, or you would call collect and be like,
Oh yeah.
"I'm done. Come get me."
Yeah.
You have a collect call from come get me.
Yeah.
I do remember my mom dropping me off,
Yeah.
and that's where everybody was. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody outside of high school and middle school and stuff, we were at the mall.
Right.
And that's why it was so special of a place for us growing
Yeah.
up. How about
I kind
you?
of remember similar age. I mean, I
Mhm,
remember going with my parents because the mall that we went to growing up was a mall called Forest Fair Mall, and it was
mhm.
a massive mall. As a matter of fact, it's so sad. Where I just drove by yesterday to go see my parents. They're tearing it down right now. Like
I
half of it's
understand.
completely destroyed, like a lot
Yeah.
of malls are. But that was like the place to be because before then there wasn't a mall like in that community. There was a couple other ones not too far away, but
Mhm.
this one just like it had it all, like floors upon floors, like double floored. Because I was a glutton kid thinking about food. They had double floored food courts and
Wow.
movie theaters and the massive arcade that we'd go to and play nonstop. I
Mm,
remember first time ever playing Street Fighter was at an arcade and like the old games too. You know, they had the pinball machines still there in the early
mhm.
'80s. That's kind of phased out over time, but yeah, it was probably a little bit after, right around probably 12, 13, going over there, even with like because I had like 10 billion siblings, so
Right,
maybe with
right.
a sibling or two. But the biggest thing, the biggest part of it was when I started going with my best friends, Matt and Mike, and that was
Yep.
probably around 13,
Mhm.
14, and then up, and it just ramped and ramped from
Exactly.
there. Our big thing was always hanging out in the arcade. We loved playing video games. That's where everybody was, like
Mhm.
especially being in a new community and being a new mall and being as luxurious as it was, everybody was there all the time. Like as you were just saying, that's where you met everybody at. And we would go to the movies as we got older. We'd go to the movies quite a bit there. But our talk about, I said at the very beginning about strategic wondering, looking for like your crush to show up. So this sounds pervier than it really is, but I'm just gonna lay it out the way it was. Um, we'd go there, we get tickets for a movie, right? There weren't assigned seats back then. Tickets
Right.
were cheap. I think they were like $1.50 for a movie ticket, so very affordable. And they had all the new releases and things. So what we would do is we would say we'd make it like our desperate final rounds and start walking around looking for girls to see if we can invite them to go to the movie with us. And that was our strategy. We'd grab a shake from Arby's because they had a great, I'm pretty sure it was a strawberry shake. So
Uh-huh.
we'd all kind of have the same thing, but then we'd walk around looking for. I mean, it's like a teenage boy. We're looking for a girl. You want to come to a movie with us? You can't even get the real words out.
Right.
Um, but we didn't do that every single time. But I mean, eventually we actually had real girlfriends where we didn't have to go around and just hope to God somebody wanted a strawberry shake from Arby's and maybe to sit with me in a movie.
Right.
Um, yeah, but it was everything though. It was you saw a little bit of, especially growing up, you saw a little bit of life. You saw people get into fights at malls, and you're like, oh, that's
Yes.
crazy. You saw people
Mhm.
making out at the mall. You maybe found your girlfriend at the mall, met at the mall, and the food court was everything. The shopping was everything. Like the thing about trying on sunglasses you were never going to buy. Think how many stores we used to go into. I used to love going into the sports stores and
Uh-huh.
trying on jerseys and doing all those things. And you'd like say goodbye to everybody, rinse and repeat, be back there tomorrow night. The same exact thing over and over again.
My mall was so special. It was Singing River Mall in Goshen,
Singing River.
Mississippi. Yep. Singing River Mall, Goshen, Mississippi. And when you first walked in to the main doors, you had Power Play. Power Play was this just your classic arcade.
Yeah.
Um, and I just remember as a child going there and just being a teenager going there and just that was our arcade. And then
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure.
walk a few more steps in, and to the left was the main portion of our movie theater. They
Okay.
did have two sections. One was inside the mall, right where I was talking about, and then across the parking lot was our other section that housed like four other screens, and
Oh, okay.
so that's how our movie theater was set up. So I guess they didn't have enough space for all of them in the main part, so they built it outside.
Okay.
Um, and then as you continued into the mall, there was the main water fountain that they would cover up when Santa or the Easter Bunny would come, and we would get our pictures, of course, and
Of
you
course.
know, and as you round the corner, there was Hibbett Sports. Now,
we've heard you talk about Hibbett Sports a lot.
This store being in this mall just implanted on me, because I ended up actually working for Hibbett Sports later on in life because of that store that I grew up with. It's an amazing sports store. We also had a Foot Locker. And then, you had your big box stores, you had your Belks, your Sears, your J.C. Penney's, you had all of those. And then we didn't have a food court at this particular mall. It was a smaller mall.
What? No food court?
There wasn't a food court, but there were restaurants in the mall. In one of the big box stores, we had La Fiesta Brava, our Mexican sit-down restaurant.
Okay.
We had Corn Dog 7, y'all. Corn Dog 7 was, the nostalgia of just going to get a corn dog and just dipping it in your mixture of mustard and ketchup. That was just, I think that's ingrained, literally. That taste is ingrained in my DNA. Like Corn Dog 7. We had a dipped ice cream bar, little place that they would like dip an ice cream bar into chocolate, and then you roll it around in some toppings.
That's fun.
Oh, so good. And then, you had the Chick-fil-A, and I'm talking about before Chick-fil-A was popular, before it became the number one restaurant on the face of the planet, like in the 80s, Chick-fil-A in our mall. And I ended up working there for my junior and senior year of high school. And so
that was your Chick-fil-A? Was that
was my Chick-fil-A at Senior River Mall. That was where I started gaining all the weight, because I was eating Chick-fil-A every single day. And I remember actually getting yelled at by one of the employees of the Corn Dog 7 because we had run out of ketchup. So I was just telling folks to go down to Corn Dog 7 to get ketchup.
Head on down there, get all the ketchup.
And they came in and started yelling at me like they wanted to start a gang fight here. Chick-fil-A versus Corn Dog 7. What?
My pleasure. Let's get it on.
Right across from the Chick-fil-A was our CD store, Soundscape. And I just remember, I went to high school with Three Doors Down, or a lot of the guys from Three Doors Down, who became one of the biggest rock bands of the 90s, 2000s. And just those guys would come in all the time, go to the sound shop, come to Chick-fil-A and come see us and stuff like that. And, it was my childhood. I remember going on a date to see Titanic with this really pretty girl. And I remember, multiple dates. I remember making out with this one girl in front of the outside theater. Like, we were sitting on like their shrubbery, flower beds or whatever, concrete portion. We were making out. And I remember one of the teachers from my school seeing me and telling my mom that I was out front making out.
That was a mistake on your end.
Busted.
Never be in public. Come on, man.
When you don't have a frontal lobe as a teenager, you don't think about those things.
No, you're stupid.
I remember getting a school assignment that in our drama class that our teacher wanted us to go and film something embarrassing. And so I decided to go to the mall and go to the dollar store and pay in all pennies, and get the lady's reaction. And then I started fishing in the fountain. I had a fishing pole, and I'm like, how did I not get banned from the mall?
I was saying, you were security's like
nightmare.
Dream. Like, would come like chase you down.
Yes, and that was for a school project to go outside of our norm, to basically become menaces in the town. That was really. That was something that I'll never forget as well. It was a special place. I bought Michelle's promise ring from the Zells there at the mall.
I was going to say Claire's.
It's Claire's, yeah. No, the Zells, a little fancy, when
I remember Zells.
My girlfriend. I actually ended up buying her engagement ring, not from that one, but from a different one. But the mall is a special place, especially when you grew up in the 90s, when you were actually like a teenager in the 90s. For all of us, mid 40s, 50s year olds out there, it was a special place. And Now Singing River Mall is literally knocked to the ground. The only thing that survived was Belk, just standing all by itself. They tore it all down. They closed it off because normally you would walk out and see that big, beautiful fountain. And now it's just a wall.
It's gone. Yeah, when I think about malls, the biggest thing I think about is that it was a time capsule for us growing up. I mean, we were there nonstop. So every memory I have is with me and my two best friends, is being at the mall, then having girlfriends and going there and stuff like that. And then we outgrew it and we grew up a little bit, and there wasn't enough people below us to kind of fill that need or fill that gap. So they kind of faded over time. It's sad, but there are, like, we have one here that's in a very affluent area that never closed. It's insane. You can't even get in there half the time. So there are some malls thriving, but for the majority, they're getting torn down, like the one I just saw yesterday.
Yeah.
So sad. So sad. Oh man, that was good, man. I feel like we could have a whole conversation about malls
just
in general.
malls. Yeah.
I did work at a dollar store there at the mall at one point, and talk about being a slice of hell.
Oh, I can imagine.
This place was
our worst jobs, part 2.
And then I worked at a different mall. That's when I worked at Annie Ann's, and I got rejected for being a failure. So anyhow, totally different mall. I just forgot I did have some work experience there as well. So anyhow. All right. So moving on, we got a couple more things we want to cover. So we got to keep our nostalgia down a little bit, even though it's hard. Well, so Billy, what do you have up next for us, my friend?
Well, yeah, before, TikTok algorithms and Instagram filters, before Facebook, and even their Facebook's college only, when you had to have a college email from certain colleges to have their exclusive access, before all of this, there was a social media empire built on 3 magical things: chaos, glitter, and your ability to rank your friends publicly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MySpace.
Oh, that's wow. Right.
And so when you first signed up for MySpace, you signed up for a friend. And that's right. The one man who was our very first friend online, a guy in a white t-shirt looking over at us from behind his shoulder, with a happy smile, just welcoming us. It was our first friend, Tom from MySpace.
Good old Tom.
Good old Tom. He didn't sell us like data. He didn't push ads. He was our friend. He didn't want us to try to go viral or anything like that. He just says, hey, I'm here for you. And that's why Tom was always a special place in our hearts as part of the MySpace nostalgia. And for millions of us, like I said earlier, Tom was literally our first online friend. MySpace launched in 2003, and it just spread like wildfire. Faster than an AIM away message, faster than Napster downloads. At its peak, MySpace was literally the #1 website on the entire internet. For a brief, shimmering moment, MySpace was bigger than Google, bigger than YouTube. It was the digital mall food court, if you will, where every teenage lived, right? Emotionally, socially, sadly, sometimes spiritually. And it wasn't just a profile. It was an expression of your entire identity. HTML coding that you didn't even understand, just copy and pasting, and the importance of just picking that very special song that you could post on there. So, it'd play your song. And then just the creme de la creme of MySpace, you had your top 8. And I'm talking these top 8 people that you would pick to display on your MySpace page. This destroyed friendships. This was a lot of social pressure for the first time for a lot of us. Your profile wasn't just seen, it was felt. But by 2005, MySpace sold to News Corp for $580 million. It became a place where it focused more on musical artists. We discovered, as fans, we discovered people like Lily Allen and a little 17-year-old named Colston Baker, who many of you might know as Machine Gun Kelly got his start
Ah,
as an indie artist on MySpace. But then Facebook happened. It was clean, it was quiet, it was respectable.
mhm.
MySpace was like neon chaos with blinking, GIFs out
Oh
there.
yeah.
It was the difference between a library and Spencer's Gifts, going back to the mall, which I might add, we always did try to sneak back in that one particular section at
I
Spencer's.
know exactly what
Yeah,
you're talking about. I was trying to
yeah.
leave that out, but yeah.
But it made it. But almost overnight, MySpace didn't feel cool anymore, right? It was kind of
Right.
weird because everybody was migrating to Facebook. And by 2008, Facebook passed it by. And by 2011, MySpace felt sadly like Singing River Mall, abandoned and destroyed. News Corp sold it for $35 million. That's right. They bought it for 580 for just a few years before,
Yeah.
but sold it for 35 million. That's kind of like going from a private jet to a decent Kia sedan, But
Yeah.
today, MySpace technically still exists. If you can kind of Google and maybe possibly find your profile from back then, it's hit or miss. I tried to search and I couldn't find mine. It just went the way of the dodo bird. And for our first online friend Tom, whatever happened to our main man in the white shirt, just
Yeah.
casually smiling at us over his shoulder? Well, he just pieced out of that mug and said, "Hey." He got his $250 million and at the age of 40 retired and became a professional photographer, traveling the world, taking some amazing pictures. He's like a really
Wow.
talented photographer, but just this, sell this piece of history, and then just to, hey, I'm stepping out of the limelight. I feel like Zuckerberg. Of course, he is one of the richest men in the world now, but having to stand in
Mhm.
front of Congress every other day, and doing all these on, the governmental things with Meta and stuff like that. But Tom, no,
Yeah.
he's living his best life, taking pictures of pretty things, and that, my friends, is the history of MySpace.
Oh man.
Oh,
Good on MySpace. So
yeah.
MySpace, I figure, was probably more you than me because by 2003, when it started, you mentioned we'd already been married for 5 years and had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that doesn't mean we didn't participate in MySpace. We did, and it was always about what kind of background could you have because there were
Yep.
a bajillion different backgrounds. So, of course, both Leslie and I had a MySpace, and our backgrounds were specifically very Disney,
Mm-hmm.
super Disney. But it was kind
Yep.
of like you talked about Facebook being clean. It made me think the opposite. MySpace was like the gaudier you could get, the
The
better your
better.
page was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had so much stuff going on your main page. It was like crazy. The friends, the music playing that you wanted queued up just right, and the crazy blinking light flat back page or the background
Yeah.
was something else.
And then it literally was an introduction to coding because you had to literally put the codes in on the edit
Yeah,
button to get things to pop up on there. And so for a lot of us, coding, that was our first introduction to coding and
that's a good
computers
point.
and all that kind of stuff. And like kind of going back to like your top 8. I mean, especially like that number 1 spot. I still remember to this day because this was out when I was in college. This was the first social media that was really popular. It's kind of what I talked to Michelle on when we first started dating, because she had
Yeah.
access to Facebook, but I didn't because our school didn't have school emails, and so we weren't part of the network until they opened publicly, until I could get on Facebook.
Okay, I got you.
So she had her both MySpace and Facebook, but I was just strictly on MySpace, and so that was like my world. But I remember having to demote Trey from the number 1 spot for
Wow.
this really pretty girl. It's really awkward because you have 8 spots, and putting what 8 people, and who's going to be that 9th that gets left out? It's kind of like the college football playoffs. Who's going
Yeah.
to be on the outside looking in? And it's drama.
For the top list thing, I remember it was just very easy. Just make it your wife at that point, and then any other friends who kind of fell in after that. That was more in our time frame. And I mean, we outgrew MySpace pretty quickly,
Sure.
and right onto Facebook and stuff. Because you're right, it was more clean, more professional. We were older,
Mhm.
married, had kids, and MySpace was just like you said, it was chaos.
It was chaos. Yeah.
A lot of madness going on there. But man, like again, this is like another time capsule moment of your childhood growing up, right?
Right. Oh man, but yeah, it was a core of internet. And now I don't know if the world's better off now, and probably not with all the social media and the instant access and stuff like that. But like back in the early 2000s, this was the doorway into that whole world, and
that was the
start.
OG.
Yeah,
golly. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, MySpace, RIP.
Mm-hmm.
Just like everything else we've talked about so far.
All right, Tim, right. What you got going on next, sir?
We're gonna rewind the tape a little bit on one of the greatest cultural revolutions of the late 20th century, ladies and gentlemen, and that is MTV. So before YouTube, before TikTok, before viral dances and reaction videos, there was MTV. Total Request Live, Yo MTV Raps, Headbangers Ball. And it wasn't just a channel, it was the pulse of pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere along the way, the music faded out and the mayhem took over. So what happened to actual music videos on MTV? And what does that shift say about how we consume culture today? Let's dive in.
Mm-hmm.
So August 1st, 1981, a rocket launches, a voice declares, ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll. Right. And with that, MTV was born, baby.
That's right.
So the first video that ever aired on MTV was what? What's the song?
Was it I Want My MTV?
No. Damn. Come on, you know this.
What is the first song? Was it? I don't know.
Video Killed the Radio Star. Yeah.
Okay, that plays.
Yeah, Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. It was a fitting start to a channel that would go on to redefine music, media, and celebrity itself. So MTV started as a simple concept, music videos 24 hours a day, hosted by a new breed of on-air personalities called VJs, which was short for video jockeys.
That's right.
But what it really did is it turned music into a visual experience. Artists didn't just need to sound good anymore. They had to look dang good for people to get into their music and be part of their fan base.
Yeah.
Suddenly, image became inseparable from identity. Now, would Madonna be Madonna without her provocative visuals? Would Michael Jackson's Thriller have become the cultural earthquake it was without MTV's constant airplay of it? Probably not. And by the mid-1980s, MTV was more than a channel. It was a cultural engine. It shaped fashion, slang, attitudes, even politics. MTV told you what was cool, and millions of people listened. So here's the golden era of it. The 80s blend into the 90s, and MTV hit its peak. Shows like Yo MTV Raps, which I love that show.
I did too.
Yeah, gave hip-hop a national stage, bringing artists like Public Enemy, Tupac, and Run DMC into the suburban living rooms. Then there was Headbangers Ball, which gave heavy metal a home. I remember that was on always late, like on Friday night.
Yep.
Friday or Saturday nights for the Headbangers Ball. That was always crazy. And then 120 Minutes introduced alternative rock before it came mainstream. Then they came Total Request Live, or if you were cool, called what?
TRL.
TRL, right? That was the heartbeat of the late 90s. That was Carson Daly, who you probably, if you see him today, he's on the Today Show and the host of The Voice.
Right.
So it was Carson Daly, screaming fans in Times Square, and daily battles between NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears. They were like on there all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
TRL wasn't just about music. It was about appointment television. Teenagers raced home from school to vote for their favorite videos, and MTV made you feel like you were part of the show. And let's not forget, this was the era where music videos were art. Directors like David Fincher, Spike Jonze, Mike Gondry turned videos into short film. It was creativity at its wildest, music, fashion, and storytelling all in one. So how did it all start to change? Well, in the mid-1990s, MTV executives noticed something. Whenever they aired reality-based content, ratings spiked in a huge, huge way. Shows like The Real World proved that unscripted drama could grab attention and cost way less to produce than a lineup of expensive music videos. By the 2000s, the transformation was complete. The Osbournes, Pimp My Ride, Laguna Beach, The Hills, Jersey Shore. MTV became less about music and more about personalities and chaos. And let's be honest, we watched every minute of it, right? It was ridiculous. It was addictive. It was entertaining. But the trade-off was clear. The M in MTV quietly disappeared. It was gone. By 2010, music videos had migrated online to a new platform called, you might have heard of it before.
YouTube maybe?
Yeah.
What is that?
YouTube. You didn't have to wait for TRL to air your favorite song. You could just search it instantly. And later, apps like TikTok turned 15-second snippets into global hits. And the power of discovery shifted from a network to an algorithm. That's like everything today. It's all about the algorithm.
That's right.
MTV didn't just change music, it mirrored our changing attention span. In the 80s, we watched a full music video. In the 2000s, we watched 30-minute reality episodes. Now we swipe through 10-second clips because it can't hold our attention. Each evolution says something about where we are as a culture. Faster, louder, more fragmented. But here's one thing. MTV didn't die because people stopped loving music. It died because people stopped needing the MTV to access the music, which I think is very important there. When the internet gave us unlimited choice, the gatekeeper lost its key. Yet, MTV's fingerprints are everywhere. On YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, every podcast culture, we're still chasing that same rush of discovery, just in different ways. So MTV was chaotic, it was bold, and sometimes downright weird, but it created moments that defined generations, like the Moon Man Awards, Nirvana's Unplugged, the Madonna Britney kiss, Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift. MTV taught us how to feel connected through music before social media existed. It gave us common ground, songs, trends, and memories that we could all share. And while it may have lost its original identity, its legacy lives on in every video uploaded, every viral dance, and every creator chasing that next hit. So maybe MTV didn't just lose its way. Maybe it just evolved with us, and we wanted more access, more chaos, more control, and that's exactly what we got. Still, for those who remember waiting for the premiere of a new video or calling into TRL to vote for their favorite artist, MTV will always hold a special place in our hearts. And I'm sad to say, it will no longer be in our hearts anymore because officially last week, what happened, Billy?
They pulled the plug. It went dark.
MTV. They signed off for the final time, and that was it. And that was before I even thought about doing this episode about whatever happened to. The timing of it was kind of peculiar, but yeah, that was MTV in a nutshell. MTV meant so much to me growing up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who, Billy, like probably a lot of our listeners sat there with their boombox recording the music videos so they could have the thing.
Right.
Gosh, I did that so many times. And then somebody in my family run in, what are you doing? And I'm like, dang it. I have to wait for another hour for this thing to come back on.
Gosh. Yep.
Yeah. MTV was everything for us. It was, it's the first time that you actually, minus looking at album covers and stuff, actually saw the bands and saw it. I mean, gosh, the 80s were just insane just for the clothing and the neon and everyone dressing like Michael Jackson and Madonna and Prince and so forth and so on. There's so much to it, but I'm going to kick it to you for a little bit before I get back in. What did it kind of mean to you growing up?
Yeah. As a teenager in the 90s, what I feel like were their heyday, the TRL days, like the boy band and the Eminem and everybody coming on the scene, and TRL being like just the glue that held it all together. And you had Carson Daly, and I had the Carson Daly haircut with the little spikes up in the front, kind of flattened on the top.
Oh yeah,
I had the Carson Daly haircut. If that just says anything about just its social outreach to the youth out there. You got to see your favorite artist and put on, these wonderful, you get to see their art come alive, I guess.
Right.
Not just with the sound, but just to visually see it. And then you get to be a part of that. And then also, like when they started branching out into reality TV shows like Real World and Road Worlds and all these shows, and just being invested in that. I don't know if you know this or not, but I got pretty far in one of the Real World auditions back when
did you really?
Yeah, back when I was in early college before Michelle and stuff. And so, I auditioned, and then Michelle and I were actually they were ready to send a filming crew to our wedding for a show called Engaged and Underaged, even though we weren't underage. We both were in our early 20s.
Yeah.
But they liked our story, and we just put our wedding off because we wanted to get married her first summer of med school. Okay. And so by the time we actually got married, the show had been canceled. And so that was kind of some little cool, little MTV things.
Oh, yeah.
but like just talking about just like the social outreach and the cultural outreach, I guess would be a more appropriate term. Like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like just that whole era of like early 90s and just be like, you know, I'm the great Cornholio, you know, just like ingrained into, you know, just like these kids that just soap it all up. And then they did a show like where they would do the making of videos, and just remember watching Blink 182 and just these bands that you loved and how they actually made their videos. And not to mention Singled Out and just Jenny McCarthy in the early 90s or mid 90s heyday. And it was hosted by the brother of the guy that was on Boy Meets World and stuff like that. And then you don't forget spring break coverage, MTV.
Oh my
spring
gosh,
break.
that was insane.
But God, it was just like that culture, just like Yo MTV Raps and just watching that late at night as well. And just the different shows that I will always remember. It was just a part of our lives as somebody that grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. So
yeah, one of my favorite shows. Oh my gosh, it was so sad when music stopped playing on it. It was just such a nostalgia thing. One of my favorite shows on there was a sketch comedy show called The State, and they had probably like 3 or 4 seasons of The State. But the sketch comedy they came up with are some of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And I use them. I quoted them 10 billion times to my friends and family. But that was on it. There was another show by Jon Stewart. He was on there. It was called You Wrote It, You Watch It. Do you remember this one?
I remember him being on there. I don't remember the show particular, but I do remember him being on MTV.
Well, you know how funny he is. Yeah. And his show was called You Wrote It, You Watch It, where people would write in real life scenarios that happened to them, and then they would act it out like in a little sketch comedy. That was absolutely hilarious. If you ever see that, or anyone listening watched that or did that, it was pretty cool. But you know, for us, especially, you know, I know you were more 90s and 80s. You know, I was 80s and 90s, so I have a leg up on you. I'm your elder. Respect that. No, but you know, it was everything. It was everything. You know, you got to see all the genres of music, things that you never thought you would like or get into, and again, me and Leslie talk about this all the time, like that vivid memory of holding up a tape recorder or your boombox by the TV,
get the sound,
just so you could record, and so you had it for yourself to play over and over again. Or if you just missed it, like you come on the videos halfway through, and you're like, "Dang it!"
No.
So of course they sucked you in to sit there and watch music for the next hour till it would come back through again. And let's not forget all the things that spawn VH1, BET, and probably 1,000 other thing. So everything was splitting off that one thing, what MTV had. Everybody wanted it. And music, the videos, the shows. And I think Real World was the first reality TV show, right? Real World?
It was one of the first. It definitely was the one that introduced me to reality TV, because
we watched all those.
Yeah, I watched all of those. I figured it out. If I was to have made the show, I would have been on the Paris season. Is the season
really?
that I would have been on.
That would have been big time. And
get the good looking little church Southern boy. That would have been me.
Oh yes.
Dang it.
Hi. Yeah.
But you know, actually I was on MTV, true story, on a little show called Ridiculousness. It's just like the internet, you know, it's a show basically. It's like Michelle's dad's favorite show. It's just
internet clips, basically.
Internet clips. I made a little skit with Chloe that went mega viral, like almost like 50 million views to date, of Halloween trick-or-treating and stuff. And
you're about to relaunch that again here in a
I'll repost. Right? I'll repost it on Halloween like I do every year, and get the same comments, because she's wearing a little, because I filmed it during COVID, and at that point we didn't show the girls' faces online. They're older now, and so they can be on there now, on my stuff safely, not their own. But she had a mask on and a little Sleeping Beauty outfit and trick-or-treating, and I had her steal all the candy because I had to put out there, like, and I start yelling at her and stuff like that. And it was like a super funny little skit. But you always get the look at this little one with the COVID mask on, and like, yeah, this was like 5 years ago, bro. Yeah, that was on MTV.
Everyone's always gonna remember is I want my MTV.
I want my
Yeah.
MTV.
All right. Sorry that we had to harmonize like that for you guys.
Sorry.
But that was my last one. Billy, what is your last what happened to on our season 2 kickoff? What do you got for us?
Going back to the mid 90s, y'all, and the nostalgia of that.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah. Whatever happened to video rental stores, right?
Yeah.
Well, before streaming, before Redbox, before Netflix learned that what our darkest viewing habits were, there was a sacred Friday night ritual. That's right. You got in your car, you went to the video store, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video,
yeah.
or maybe even some sketchy little local place that kind of smelt like Pepsi from 1998, and every single time it was a high state emotional roulette. That's right. Because you weren't just browsing movies, you were hoping and you were praying that cardboard cover of the movie that you really wanted to watch had that glorious VHS tape right behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't there, not all hope was lost, right?
Yeah.
What would you do? You would walk your little happy tail up to the front counter. You would tell that little teenager working behind the desk, hey, did anybody turn in this particular movie? And they would go and, take a look.
Dig through that bin.
That's right. Dig through the bin to see if, you hit that little video lottery. Video rental stores were an experience. They were just a chaotic rush. That was a really special thing for us as growing up. You had your fluorescent lighting. You had the smell of like plastic cases.
Oh, yeah.
And like the smell of like microwave popcorn. And just the fear of having to settle for your second pick,
Yeah.
Kids today would never understand that stress.
No.
And then, of course, with that culture comes that classic legendary sticker. Do you know what that sticker said, Tim?
Please be kind and rewind.
Be kind and rewind.
Yes.
And if you didn't rewind that VHS tape before returning it, you are a monster.
You are going against everything that is pure and sacred in this country.
That's
Be kind and rewind, y'all. Come on.
And no lie, some video places would fine you if they had to rewind your tapes for you. So that was just a common courtesy.
Which is crazy to think about right now.
Having to rewind. And we not only rewind, but having to rewind. Like sometimes you would buy VH rewinders, not do it through the main thing, but that you would just put the tape in, and that's whole purpose was you close it and we rewind your tapes.
I was just ready to say that.
Yeah,
because
the struggles
what they were doing, it was burning out normal VCRs is why.
Yep, exactly.
People just bought those. I remember seeing those at my friend's house. I'm like, you guys are rich. If you guys just have a whole same separate rewinder for your videos. Like that's game.
It went faster, and because it's all that time is money, y'all. Time is money. Another big thing about video rental was that mysterious, curtained off, forbidden back door. That had like the little like beaded curtains that you had to take a glimpse of, where people would walk in and they would be looking at videos, but they would dang sure not be making eye contact with anybody else in there with them, right? Nope. If you know what's back there, you know what's back there. I feel like it was always lit up by red lights for some reason, Tim, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I never made it back there. So.
Well, I could tell you that every little 13-year-old boy would always try to take a little sneak peek back there for some reason.
Someone walk in, you're like, what's back there? What are they doing in there? Then as you get older, you're like, I don't want to know what they're doing in there.
I don't know. Yeah, stay away.
Actually, I have a pretty good idea what they're doing in there.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh,
that's true though.
Yeah, it is true, sadly. But by the late 2000s, Blockbuster was the king, right? They had thousands of stores, blue carpets, snacks, video games. They even sold movie theater candies, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then Redbox showed up. One single metal vending machine at a time. No employees, no rewinding, no pressure, convenience beat nostalgia. Kind of like what we talked about earlier. Yep, that convenience. And then streaming hit. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, anything that you could think of at the fingertips of almost just instantly being able to watch your movies. And not only that, the COVID pandemic would bring these what should have been released at movie theaters, but we couldn't go. Movies that millions and millions of dollars went into were immediately released to streaming. And for the first time ever, we didn't have to get out and pay the ridiculous prices that movie theaters charge. And then, we're stuck at home, and then we kind of realize, oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah, this is nice.
This is kind of nice to be able to be in my pajamas and make my own food and just kind of snack and pause it when I need to go pee and not have to run and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so with that, you had your video rental stores. You had your little vending machines that put those out of business. And then you had your streaming platforms that put the red boxes out of business. And now the streaming's going after the old movie theaters. And so they need to buckle up, because I personally love going to the movies and getting your popcorn, your large drink.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't love the prices though.
No.
Especially now, like when I take the four of us to a movie and having to spend like $150 back in the day when we would go see a $350 matinee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but that, my friends, is a special place called Blockbuster Video or Hollywood Video or whatever video you had in your local town.
Yeah.
And how that will always hold a special place in our hearts. So,
oh yeah, for sure. So many memories when you brought up when you said that. It's like the first priority was always like go in, depending on where you were at, go to the right because that's where all the new releases were.
Yep.
Sprint your little butt over there and hope to God the one that you wanted was still there. And how many copies did they have? And then it's like you're ranking there on MySpace. You got to go down your rankings about what would we watch next.
Yes.
But if you weren't speeding in there to try to get the new release, you could spend a good 30-40 minutes just walking around the back walls looking at all the movies and be like, oh, we haven't seen that one before. Oh, we haven't seen that in a while. We should try that one out. That was like one of the biggest deals. But then, we would get desperate and we wait at that checkout while I'm like, do you guys have this? Did this come in? I remember when the movie Tombstone came out.
Oh, yeah.
And so me and my friends were obsessed with it. So we would wait and wait. I mean, I remember there was a time where we waited like 3 hours at Blockbuster because there was one copy that was due to be dropped off.
Yes.
And we were sure as heck going to be the people there getting that.
We were waiting at the door, waiting. Okay, what was that? They were immediately having let's get these kids out of here.
Well, what also happened, because it'd be so busy on Friday and Saturday nights, what happened is anything that just came through the Dropbox, they would literally grab and just put down right in front of them. They didn't sort them because they knew it was going to be gone just like that, coming right in and out of the store. But just like that fight with people to grab that really quick and be like, yes. And if you got to that new release wall and yours was there, it was the last copy, you were like, I am the champion of all champions.
It was like, I think that's part of the whole rush. I mean, like the whole experience was those wins that you got, and also like you went in with a game plan. You knew exactly where to go, where to run, where to turn to cut everybody off to give you the best possible outcome. Like you pre-planned. It was a strategic place to be, for sure.
You know what the crazy thing is about Blockbuster? It was open all day long, but people wouldn't fight until that Friday night. Like if you were smart, you just gone during the day and got whatever you want.
Exactly.
That's not how it went down back then. It was like this unwritten rule.
Yes.
You have to sprint over there, then get home, order your pizza, have a date night, or just movie night with your kids or something like that. But here's the big thing about Blockbuster. It wasn't so much hard to go get the video. It was hard to return it. And that's where they made their money. That's where they made that money big time. And Leslie and I were horrible at returning videos. We would have so many late fees at Blockbuster all the time. Or it'd be like you have to have it by Sunday at noon. It was like 11:58, and we're like we're trying to shove it in. Like
we throw it into the door. Check it in. It's here.
You check that in right now. So
the door's already locked. You scan it in, man.
Yeah. Do you remember being in line and like hearing someone in front of you like, "I'm sorry, you have too many late fees. You can't rent this," or your membership's been canceled. Yeah, like I remember that. Like that anxiety.
You're blacklisted.
You had done it. So yeah, that was like I said, it was easy to get a video. It was just super hard to go return it. Hence the convenience of being at your home. Now you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
But yeah, we had we had so many great memories of Blockbuster.
It's kind of like our original doom scrolling, like how you get on Netflix now and you don't know what to watch. It's kind of like when you had time and didn't have that, like you were saying earlier, that new release that you were just kind of walking the aisles. It's kind of like the original doom scrolling, just kind of going through all the movies. Okay, what do I want to watch? What am I in the mood for? That's kind of where that whole seed was planted for a lot of
it was. Yeah, that's a really good point, because you would discover movies you've never even thought of or ever heard of, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you go in that back room. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone I don't think Blockbuster ever had those rooms.
Blockbuster didn't have it, but the local places did. Like local
like the
little
VIP video. Yeah. Leslie used to. There was a city she used to drive through when she used to teach up at the college at Miami University, and there was a store called VIP Video, and you could always see like I think it would even say like corn videos or something to that extreme, if you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And she was like, and this was like not that long ago. She's like, God, they still have the porn store open of all the stores, because no one was going in there to get a video. Like no one was going to get the new release of something. It was because you were there for a different purpose.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, that's disgusting. But this was a great one for sharing, man. I know so many people listening are going to have their own stories and maybe trigger thoughts they haven't thought about in a while. Mm-hmm. And we want to be part of that, Billy. And if we want them to tune in and maybe check in with us and share some of their best memories about any of these places, where could they do that at?
Well, the best place is to head on over to facebook.com and type in all the Everything Podcast. Make sure you're following and just leave us some comments on videos, some likes, some loves. Hit all the buttons. Share it. Hey, do a little posty post. Leave us a review on there. We'd love to see our reviews on Facebook get above 8 after a year.
Dang it, Facebook. Come on. We need to rally our MySpace people. Come on. You're our people out there. We need you.
Go from MySpace. You already migrated once. Just go on over to our page and, hey, leave us a review. But while you're there.
Tom did.
Yeah, exactly. While you're there, just kind of scroll on over to Instagram and do all the things there. Or maybe gonna go over to the TikTok. We're there. All the Everything Podcast. Easy to find us. Look for our logo, and we'll have the newest and grooviest videos out there.
Yeah. And in season 2, we are very much more focused on really giving you some more show notes. We always say like, we'll put that in there. We never put anything out there. But I've taken that on as my task. So you'll see some stuff, some prompts, easy for you to be able to comment on or whatever. But we love for you to join us, man. This was a great episode. This was a lot of fun.
Nostalgia to the max.
It is, man. What a time capsule of memories. It was amazing. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys loved it. I hope it really struck some nostalgia for you. And we can't wait for you to join us next time for yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. Thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys have a great week.
Bye, y'all.